All right, good morning. I'd like to call the Economic Development Commission meeting to order. Today is Thursday, May 9th, 2013. Approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any comments, questions, concerns, or changes for the minutes? Give a motion to...
So moved.
Second? All in favor? Thank you. And you're up.
Thank you so much. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Nancy Anstey, Executive Director of the Farmington Valley Visitors Association.
She's one of the people we support.
And I was going to say thank you, Mark. We thank you very much for your support. So I will, now that I know you're here, I'll get you a packet of information so that you know exactly what we do and what we've done and what's on the horizon.
That would be great, thank you.
And I do my best to make it to monthly meetings. And now I am officially on the schedule to get 2 emails for the calendar from not getting an agenda.
But you're on the email
I now
list
have 2,
Okay.
yeah. So hopefully I'll just be able to make it once or twice a month. So, okay, to recap what's been going on, we had a very, very successful one-room schoolhouse bus tour 2 Saturdays ago. We went around Avon, Canton, Farmington, and Burlington. Next year's bus tour is scheduled already for April 26th, and it will be Simsbury, Granby, East Granby, and Barkhamsted. We're also trying to work on a lecture for the fall surrounding how to preserve and help the Farmington River. So that ought to be interesting. What's most interesting that dawned on me 2 months ago is that 1994 is FVVA's 20th anniversary year. We began March of 1994. So we are now in plans for galas and events to mark 20 years for us, which I think is extraordinary. So coming up, you'll hear all sorts of other interesting things. In terms of what's currently on the horizon for us, we're helping with the Art Walk. We're doing our membership drive and ad campaign for that guide for 2014. Plans are already underway for a Dream Ride, August 23rd, 24th. And we'll be on Iron Horse Boulevard helping out with Trails in Motion on June 1st. And other than that, that's where we are right now. Any questions?
The art walk will be in June, right?
June 22nd.
Will that be just the town, or is it pretty much like last year?
I think it may be, well, I wish Sarah were here.
Okay.
I think it may be on a little smaller scale.
Okay.
Is that the same day as the concert?
I think it is.
Which
It
concert?
is,
Sonic?
Very iconic.
Is it?
It is.
That I did not know.
Yeah.
That's good.
You know, that's great. It's a great opportunity. I mean,
It's
they
a
begin
wonderful
in Simsbury,
opportunity
it's
to bring
graduation.
people downtown Simsbury and have them stay. Yeah. We're also starting to promote Tucka Mountain Music Festival.
And your website is www?
.fvva.com.
Check it out. They do great stuff. Events happening in the valley all the time. So if you're ever short of any activity, you can go to their website.
You
There's
certainly
always something
can.
going on. Any questions, comments? Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
The status of the consultant's marketing study. Tonight we have our presentation by Fairweather Consulting, and hopefully we'll get a reasonably good turnout from the business community, at which time they'll break down into, I guess, focus groups to better understand the concerns that the business community has. That'll be from 6 o'clock until 8 tonight at the Masonic Hall. Hopefully you can attend and listen and assist. And with that, I'll turn it over to Hiram. Do you want to add anything else to
No,
that?
it's really good, Mark. We're hoping that this is a good kickoff. They have sent around a series of questions, which I forwarded everybody, that they'd like people to focus on. So after the initial presentation of just talking a little bit about how the study is organized and what they expect to get out of it, I'd like to break down into small groups and try to get people's ideas and input into just what they'd like to see happen in the town going forward in terms of marketing. One of the interesting things is that there's a lot of coordination that will be going on between the marketing study that's currently underway and the village district study There's a lot of discussion also too about the Hartford study, I'll talk about in a minute, but as well. So we're trying to coordinate these things as well, get a lot of synergy out of all these studies going forward, not just all individual in their little silos. So trying to move forward with that.
Now, this is going to be phase one, which we hope to complete by sometime in July, correct?
We hope to have it done actually by the end of June, so we're hopeful that that'll happen. Originally, this was set up as part of a two-phase process. There's no money allocated for the second phase of the process so far, so we'll see how far we get with phase one. We hope that at the end of phase one, we'll end up with a fairly detailed outline of different marketing strategies that we need to use, different than what we've done before, in addition to what we've done before. So we hope that we'll come out of phase one at least with a sort of a template going forward for phase two. If we're able to secure either a steep grant or some other funding for the second phase, and we'll proceed with phase two. But right now, we're finishing up phase one, we'll go from there.
Okay. What does, do we have a read right now on the funding for phase two?
No, I submitted a steep grant a while ago, and I've asked OPM several times now for indication as to when or if we'll get that money, and as of yesterday, I still haven't heard anything.
We have how many people can show up tonight at the Masonic Hall? I'll be there. Okay, great.
Hiram, not to jump ahead in the agenda, but is part of the marketing study intended to be connected to the Hartford parcel in any way, or will there be interaction between those two initiatives?
The consultants are going to be aware of each other, certainly. I've told the village district consultant already who's doing the marketing study and vice versa. We haven't gotten the proposals back for the Hartford study yet. Those are due back on the 20th.
Okay.
As soon as we get those back, probably be a day or two after that, as soon as we get a chance to read through them, just who'll be interviewed for that. And then as soon as we get that person on board, then we'll make them aware of what else is going on and make sure that there's an interaction between those so that we can get some synergies for those. Absolutely.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments?
Should we finish up number 6 since we just did that?
Yeah, do you want to jump ahead on to number 6, status of the Hartford town and land use studies?
Sure. I wrote the RFQ a while ago, sent that out, gave consultants 30 days to get back to us. Again, those are due back on the 20th of this month. And so we've gotten a number of consultants that have called and either asked additional questions or asked, had we made any decisions yet ahead of time as to who was going to be selected? And the answer to that, of course, is no. We want to get the best team that will do this. May or may not be a team similar to the one we selected for the town center, because it's a very different job down there. Looking at still a sizable parcel, but a very different sort of set of circumstances. So the team, I think, is going to be a team probably rather than one firm, although it's certainly possible to get one firm, because a series of different expertise is going to be needed to look at the situation. Hartford's been very good in terms of cooperating with us. They let us sit in on their interviews for the potential realtors, the 2 potential realtors that they have selected. They haven't, to my knowledge, selected that team yet. And we told them that we would coordinate with them as soon as we got our consultant on board, and they would coordinate with us with regard to their realtor as well. So we'll see what happens. So there's a lot of coordination, cooperation going on, which is hopefully very helpful. And we think long-term it's going to be really to the benefit of the town. Realistically, someone could come in tomorrow and decide to buy that whole thing and use it for whatever it's currently zoned for, or whatever the Hartford wants to propose, and that's realistic, no question. However, it's pretty unlikely, frankly. 638,000 square foot building, to think that we're going to get one user for that property is probably pretty unrealistic. So something in between one user and several users, and possibly a different focus on what could be done for that property, will all be part of the charrette, a very transparent, open, public process that we want to get people involved in. I don't know whether we'll get as many people involved in that process as we're involved in the town center. I hope we do, frankly. The Hartford might even let us have it, in their building. So that would be a very good location that people that had questions about how, road alignments or driveways or whatever, actually just walk outside and take a look at it. So we're hopeful that that'll happen as well, although we haven't confirmed all those details yet. So.
Will that study focus on the one main parcel or both? The one north of the one?
We think it's reasonable that And given the amount of money that we like to put into that city, we think we can do both pretty nicely.
So we're gonna develop a charrette in this study to come up with a plan of what that property should be used for and look like, the look and feel of it. Is that kind of the goal of the individual or group that we're hiring?
Part of it, in addition to the plan and the way it would look, we'd also come up with a regulation as well. We need to have the local commissions, planning commission, this commission, of course, design review, the zoning, all involved in the process as well. So that when we end up with that process, we actually will have a regulation in place for that property that would allow us to move forward very quickly if someone came in with one of those proposals.
That fit within the plan, develop whatever that may be.
Yeah. For the town center, for example, you may remember, we had the illustrative plan that came out of the 6-day charrette, and that was provided at the end of that 6 days. And then it took quite a while to sort of code the rest of the town. In this case, we think we can do the coding at the same time because we all know how it's done. The consulting team should also be able to provide us good information to get us done at the same time. So we're hopeful in September we'll end up with not only the plan and what it should look like, but the actual regulation as well as allowed to go forward. So it would almost be a shovel-ready site, frankly, if somebody wanted to do something significant with it.
Harlan?
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, the town signed with the Hartford an agreement of some sort.
No, I don't think there's anything written yet. We've had several meetings with them, and the first selectman's been meeting with them. Tom Bartel's been involved in all those discussions. He's been in presentations to the chamber and so on. I don't know that they've written a check yet, but there's no disagreement about the process. Once we get the team on board, before we sign a contract, I'm sure that selectmen will work that out.
The question I'm getting to, who will have the last, if anyone, who will have the last word on the decision to accept, not accept the proposal?
Well, it's the Hartford's property, no question about that. The idea of this whole process, though, is to build consensus. I think before we did the last charrette, there probably would have been a lot of people that would have gone in a lot of different directions about saying whether we could ever get to consensus on what ought to happen in the town center. Because of that experience and our positive feelings coming out of that process, we think we can come to a significant consensus on this property as well. So the town is involved in the process. The consulting team is going to have economics people as well as designers and planners and architects and so on. So our whole goal is to make that process one where everybody is a winner in the situation. The townspeople have their ability to say what they would like to see there, but the economic realities are clearly there. You know, if somebody proposed that the whole thing be open space, I don't think that's going to fly too well. If somebody wanted to say part of it ought to be open space, maybe we'll see how that works into the whole process as well. But the goal here is to make the property more attractive to more potential buyers, and that ultimately, whether that's a broader sense of uses. Right now, the zoning is I-1. It's going to be used for very few things, frankly. And if people are happy with that, then that's fine. But the economic reality is that none of us want to see that building disappear. And certainly not entirely. Maybe parts of it, maybe some of it, maybe rehabilitated, reorganized, repurposed. But we don't have those answers yet. So we want the public to be involved in that process so we can build a really strong consensus, and we feel pretty comfortable that we can do that.
I know we want to get ahead of the game rather than be reactive, but we want to include any potential new owner in the decision on what gets put there.
Yeah, the realtors that are selected were both asked about that.
Okay.
And they're both indicated that they were very interested in participating in that process. And
Do you know who those firms were?
I really don't know if I have the ability to say that right now. Until they're selected, I can't say. I do know, and I'll tell you later, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say that.
Okay.
A couple times, Hiram, you used the word village study, with respect to this, I think.
No.
No?
The village district study that we're working on, Alan's been part of that selection committee, as well as Emil Dahlquist from Design Review. The village district study that we're working on, originally we had thought about doing more than one area of town. It turns out that the amount of money that we have allocated, and that was a grand total of $15,000, is not going to be enough to do the 2 or 3 different districts that we had in mind. So what we decided to do was to focus on the section of Weetop from 185 to Powder Forest. And that's the area that they'll be looking at, right in that area now.
But that's a separate.
It's a separate study, but again, hopefully the marketing folks will be coordinating with the village district consultant as well. Yeah.
Do we know about, and looking across the country, has anybody successfully repurposed of this kind of office building sitting in that kind of situation?
Yeah.
Successful?
There are a number of them, actually. I did a search a while ago, and we're gonna, when the consultants come in, we'll talk to them about whether they were involved in any of those, or what they thought of those. There was a hospital that was redone in Austin, Texas. There was another, a really old building in Chicago that was a historic preservation, a huge building that worked out really well. So a number of different parts of the country, there have been structures which were significantly sized, 500,000, 600,000 square feet. So it's certainly possible. Whether it's true in this case or not, we'll just have to see what they come up with.
Was that the design center in Chicago?
Yes.
That's a great project.
Any other questions?
Do you have any updates on Big Y?
Big Y process is moving forward. They made there's a three-step process that the DOT has, this new streamlined process. And they're just applied to the third step. They're ready to move forward. I understand last I knew, which was about 3 days ago, they were getting ready to start in July. They're hopeful that they start in July. Because of that time frame, they won't be open this year. I think it's probably going to be early next year. They have to be open for October of the year that they started. Other than that, they said that they're not going to press it. There's going to be a new traffic light at their driveway. That's caused some questions on the DOT and how those lights synchronize with the new one that's up there now. So we're trying to work those details out, but it should be very shortly. Hopefully we'll get them to start in July.
Any other comments? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 5, EDC website front page and links. I took a look at at our webpage, the front page, and there's 2 links up there. I know you can go to the departments and get other links, but I'd like to see them actually on the page.
Well, and that's why I brought it up to you. Look, I think that as a consumer, whether it's a business or a developer coming to town, they should be able to access everything by just going to the EDC and getting everything they need to know. I know the links are everywhere else, but when you make it too cumbersome, it's a challenge. Especially since the website hasn't been as user-friendly of late, and I don't think they've started the task force to address some of those issues.
Here's some copies of the various links we could put on. I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions. I'd like to see those links on our front page, so you can quickly go to planning or zoning, or you can go to Main Street or the like. I think that would be more helpful than just saying who the commissioners are and what our legal status is in town. So does anybody have any?
GIS system, where does that stand on our website?
We have a GIS consultant, and I've tried for a number of years to get a little bit more control over that myself. Actually, right now it's out of the engineering department, and so for everything I need to do, I need to go to the engineering department and ask them if they'll do it, and when they get time, they do it. And I consulted also directly with the GIS consultant, which is Northeast Geo out of Guilford. And they're very good at responding, but in terms of getting things done, I do have to go through engineering to get it done. It's not available to the public yet. It's not ready to go public.
So the link doesn't work anymore on the?
If there's anything there, if there's a link there that's helpful to you, that's fine. But what I'm talking about is actually sort of creating maps and going in, assessors maps and things, and for creating specific maps. For example, this village district thing that we're doing now, I need a map that shows the area that we're talking about, that shows not only the assessor's maps, but it shows topography, it shows ground cover, it shows how much pervious, where the buildings are, asphalt, so on. We need all that, and the only way we can get that is from a GIS consultant. The maps are there now, kind of primitive, I guess is my point.
That is just used so much in nowadays, and especially what I do in Windsor, I mean, if you look at theirs, they have a phenomenal one.
Yep.
Theirs works very, very well, very easy, user-friendly. You can go on at any point. I go on and look at a particular property, and in 10 minutes, I can have everything about that, surrounding areas printed out, and I'm good to go. It is very, very helpful. And I think that's one of the things that when people come to the town and begin looking around, I think that's what they're expecting to find, because you can get all your information, you know your zoning, you know your wetlands map, and they overlay on each other. So you just type in either an owner of a property or the address of a property, you get the regular map, you find out where they are, and then you can just overlay what zoning is there, what wetlands issues are there, and you can just look at it all and you see it and compare it to areas near there. Very, very helpful in determining if there's a property available, and I think if we have these items going on from marketing and we have properties that are available, people are going to go there and start there. I think that's what they're going to look. That's what we do, and most of the people that I know,
I mean, when we go and look at a property, it's the first thing we do is see if the town has a GIS, locate the property, tax information, parcel number, owner, you name it.
And one of the things that's different about those other towns, Windsor, for example, is certainly a good one, Manchester's another good one, West Hartford's another really good one. All those towns have in-house GIS people, and it's a huge, I mean, just to look at what we spend on GIS, and what we spend is minuscule compared to those, no question about it.
Right, and that, but that's one of the things we can do a lot, but if the potential people coming in are hearing about us, so our marketing works, and we have a parcel, and they're looking at 4 other parcels in either Connecticut or New England, and they go to our site and they can't get that information, they're moving on. And so we can have a lot of the other things, but that information, maybe that's a discussion at at our level to let the town know that may be something where the money's going to be spent. But if you go on some of these other sites, it just makes it so easy to get to the bottom line and know if it's even feasible, if you have a potential argument for what you want to put there, or if there's some wetlands issue, you're going to know right off the bat, and it makes it very easy.
Is it possible to do, because that service is so expensive, to get GIS mapping for parcels that are available in town only instead of all the parcels in town? So if someone were to want to develop the Hartford, we made those available for that parcel specifically because we want something to happen in that space. So when we do I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if we have the ability to do that, because it would seem like it was more cost effective if we've got a cost issue to just, if we've got 50 parcels in town, to do the maps for 50 of them.
It really needs to be developed as a system, as a whole system. If you develop the whole system, you'll have access to all of them. To try to develop them individually, I think it's kind of like making pieces and sort of trying to figure out where people are going to go. We've talked for a number of years about trying to get the system up in public. So every time we come up to a budget issue, it tends to fall out, which is unfortunate, because what we really need to do is have folks, economic development folks come to those meetings and say, we really need to put this in the budget.
What kind of costs are we talking about if we were to actually really flesh that out for the town?
I can tell you, I set it up for another town a number of years ago, and it was about $70,000 a year.
That's per year.
Yeah.
You have to keep it updated.
You have to, if you don't update it, it's worthless, absolutely
Right.
worthless. If you don't update what the zones are, who the owners are, the parcel numbers, where the wetlands are, if you don't update it, it's just worthless.
So you're talking, that's like a full-time position plus operating budget?
Yeah, exactly. And right now, we do it outside, our GIS consultant, we do it outside. And I don't think it costs us anywhere near that, but that's what it would cost to do in-house on a full-time basis. Now, that person wouldn't sit there and do GIS all day, they would probably do other things as well. We have a lot of engineering mapping that we do, a lot of filing that gets done, mapping. When people come in with subdivisions and things, we ask them to put those in our GIS system as well. So we're trying to upgrade it as we go on a sort of piecemeal basis. So when people submit stuff now, we ask them for it electronically. And I wrote the spec for that a couple of years ago. And so when somebody comes in with a subdivision, we should be able to take that electronically and put it right into our GIS system, not require our consultant to do it. We ask the applicant to do it. So we're trying to upgrade it piece by piece in that way.
But the other towns all have, as you said, a dedicated person or persons.
Yeah, at least one, yeah.
That maintains the system.
And when you go on and you look at it and use it, you can see that it works. It makes life very easy for someone looking at the town and looking at a parcel. It cuts out a lot.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everybody. I don't think I can say the full compliment. Good to see you all. Just to talk about GIS, so Simsbury was part of the Moore Commission, and we introduced a bill that allows regional GIS mapping and connectivity. So towns are the only, town general government is the only government that has to pay full price for cable connections, which will allow us to share GIS with other towns. Police, fire, libraries, Board of Ed all get the connections free. So we've introduced a bill that allows general government to share cable at a free market rate as well as everybody else. We're the only piece not connected. That will free us up, our money up, to do the other things that we want to do. It will allow us also to connect with other GIS systems that are more advanced than ours, and we do it as a cheaper price. So our bill is in the legislature, it's pending. I think it has a good chance of passing, so that'll make a big difference in this issue for it. I think you'll see a lot of improvements, because it's a lot of frustrations for towns like Simsbury that don't have the money to invest to keep it up. This will make it a lot cheaper for towns to share software and hardware.
So would this plan or be a stand-in for having our own?
No, but what it does is we've put into the budget the money to connect and to be able to buy the software. This will free up that money to use for staffing to upkeep it.
Okay.
So it's a great, I think you'll see a lot of big improvements over the next few months. Also, we have a technology task force. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yep.
They'll be appointed by the Board of Selectmen on Monday night. You're welcome to be liaisons to that as well. But that task force is looking at a number of things, such as creating business portals. So we'll be involving the Economic Development Commission when we get to that point. But again, it's the capacity of the system to work, and that's what we're working on as well. So.
Because we added capacity, we have the capacity now.
We do.
So
We
now it's how
revamped-
do we use it?
Right. User friendly. We have some, the company we use, Virtual Town Hall, now also has new tools that they didn't have. So we're trying to implement those as well. But again, it's a question of once you create the system, you have to staff it. So that's what we're trying to figure.
I'm just going to read some of the things that Chris had offered to put on our website. And if people have any comments about what we like in terms of links, but Chamber of Commerce, Main Street, Farmington Valley Visitors Association, Rails and Trails, Water Pollution Control, Zoning, Simsbury Town Center Code, the charrette, Guidelines to Community Design, Town Center Guidelines, Land Use Regulations, CFACE, Town Demographics, and links to parcel and maps. But those are some of the ones that you offer. But I was thinking we'd certainly have zoning, planning, Main Street, Chamber, Farmington Valley Visitors Association, Tax Abatement Program, Business Resource Center, which is already there, as the links that I would think that once you come to the front page, they're there and you can click on. Anybody have any other ideas that they think that we could add or they'd like to see there?
The majority of that is there, isn't it?
No?
It's not on our page. It's everywhere else on the website, but it's not on, if you went to economic development and you were a developer, you could only find our names
Our names and
and maybe a meeting agenda and minutes, and that's pretty much it.
Just to offer, each department now that we revamped maintains their own webpage. So that's something that Hiram can do directly with you anytime. And it may be worth having one or two of you to work with Rick Bizzano and Hiram because we don't have a software person, we have hardware people. So when you say put it there, it doesn't often get put in the place that visually you might want it to be. So if there's like a little subcommittee that would work with us, we can do that.
Get something?
Staff, I mean, each staff controls their own page, so it's much easier now for us to change those links. So,
Are there any other things you?
On that point, Right now, Hiram, if you have someone come in your office, they're a developer, they're looking at a particular parcel, can they, without talking to you right now, can they get on our website and go to one area and get the information a developer would need to determine the feasibility of whatever they're thinking of doing based on the zoning regulation, plan of development, mapping, things like that, to take a look and see the zoning, see what's there, see what the regulations are, if it would even fit in? Is there one spot where they can go, or do they have to kind of hunt around? Because I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
If you look at the department's webpage, and all the departments are listed there. If you're looking for zoning, you go to zoning. If you're looking for planning, you go, all the plan of development's there, charrette's there, it's all there. But what I think what you're asking to is to put links on the EDC page to link to all the rest of these documents. They're all up there. It's just a matter of putting.
Well, is zoning in the same
Yes.
spot as plan of development, or is planning, the conservation plan of development under
Yeah, I have two
planning
requests.
versus zoning?
Over here, I'm hearing a request for links to the list that Mark gave. What I'm hearing from Lou is, how about a page that has the regulations? All the regulations for the town, so you don't have to go to each department to find it, one place. So
And that's it, yeah, that's it.
Or
Information
developers
right.
page,
Right.
it's somewhere where
Well,
if
that's
someone
what-
has
That's what the
inquiries.
information management is, that we're working
Right,
with
okay,
Technology
right,
Task
right.
Force, but that's something that, you know, if you have the subcommittee to work with us, we can put the information anywhere you want it. It just, you know, it gets confusing if you have it in different places, but if you have it, you have to decide where you want to put it.
So
Right
you-
now, it's
you could-
departments.
you could- Because of the way you approach it, if you could come up with a list of you, from a developer's point of view, to say, if I want to go to EDC, what links do I want to see that are very easily accessible? That would be helpful.
Sure.
I
Well, and I
mean,
think that's what my goal was in bringing it up, because I was working with a developer at the time, and you have to go to all the different pages to find all the different pieces of the information. I should be able to go to one place and say, here it is.
And we could do a mock-up, like a fake web page that's not, you know, that only you can see, so you can see. So if we get a sense of what you're looking for, we could do a mock-up page and send it to you all.
Yeah, because I mean, you might say
But we need
developers,
somebody
that you have
to
all
tell
the
us
links
what
that
you
would be
think.
relevant, so that somebody feels that you're catering to them at least.
Absolutely.
That, you know,
Like
we know what you're
land
looking
use-
for.
Land
here it
use
is.
development, and under there would be everything that someone would want to see with regard to a potential development or property or zoning, everything can be in there.
It's a lot of information, just to caution you, it's a lot of information. To download that stuff is really slow. It's all in color, it takes forever to download it. So we have to be careful how much we put on the site and to make it usable, because you
But
can
other
put anything
sites
you want
do it.
on there.
You go to other towns,
Yeah, it's just really slow. It's a lot
no,
of
no,
information.
they're not, and printing them out, I mean, you can print out the maps.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
literally, I can have a zoning map, I was using Windsor as an
Right.
example, if you go to their site, and I know Manchester. You can, in 5 minutes, have a particular parcel, know the zone, know the area around the zone, the mapping, you'll have the zoning map around it, you'll have the wetlands map around it, the regulations, all
Yeah.
in a very, very short
Yep.
time, so you can say, it'll never work
Exactly,
here.
and we'll get you the cost to run that and the
Yeah.
cost to staff it. and
Well,
put
that's
that
when you
budget
walked in
next year.
before.
And-
That's when you walked in.
I really like the idea of having a developer's page. I mean, it really, it's like, oh, welcome, and we're open to development. It doesn't mean we have to approve it. Like, I mean, it's there for them, and they're like, oh, okay.
Well, if you could gather the various pieces, looking at the town website and say, these are the things that I'd like to see there, then let's maybe bring that back at our next meeting.
Yeah, or we can have Rick Bizzano, we can design something, if you give us your feedback, we could mock up something and then work with you on it. I think it's a good idea, I think we can do it for you, I think it'd be great for the town.
I'd like to commend our subcommittee on already getting the Business Resource Center at the library, the FEVA, the Chamber of Commerce, and Main Street Partnership linked to the front page.
Those
of
are
our
actually on
website.
our front page.
Good work.
Not that
We did it.
Any other questions on the EDC front page? All right. I will be out next month, so it's your baby if you'd like to chair the meeting. Okay. Any other old business or new business they'd like to discuss? Okay, with that, we have a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second? In favor? Thank you.
Oh, yeah. At the start of the meeting.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.